Heck yeah, with a wedding that actually feels like it matters a decent bit more than the last wedding we saw on this channel. The Mario and Luigi Brothership, for anyone wondering what that one is. Without having that context, like, man, that was like the most pointless thing ever. And we had to have like the entire story grind to a halt to prepare the wedding for like these two randos. But hey,
my lord.
Thank you.
this feels like it actually wraps up the plot line of a character that actually has like a plot line and character development and stuff like that.
Just like you to keep a king waiting at his own wedding.
So definitely gonna enjoy the story leading up to this wedding a whole lot more than Mario and Luigi Brothership. I mean, the bar's pretty low on that one. You look good, Oswald.
You look good, Oswald. Like a man about to marry a more powerful woman.
Do I? Because I'm nervous as hell.
Of all the battles a man can fight, the war against himself is the hardest to win.
Those are wise words. I wasn't looking closely. Did that pig shift in a weird way? Like, I swear, I've played so many Ubisoft games at this point that, like, I see something that looks off out of the corner of my eye, like something I wasn't actually paying attention to. I'm like, whoa. Did something, like, weird happen there? So I could just be imagining things at this point. From having played too much Ubisoft, that now I'm seeing things. And that looked like part of the wall on the right didn't exist for a second there. The rings aren't, like, quite perfectly synced up with the plates, it didn't seem like. Like, they were moving with it, but not quite
I hereby name you
in
man
perfectly
and
the same way.
This man and wife,
Which is a
I
common
name
thing in
you
a lot of games. And when he first put that plate there and I saw the shiny objects there, I thought it looked like two candies.
Oswald of Elmenham, first of his name, the rightful king of East Anglia, with his lady Valdis, soul, fist, and beauty of this land.
A little bit of lighting being weird on that back wall there for a second. My arm clipped into that wall.
You've done it, steward. A king now sits on the throne of East Anglia.
Don't leave yourself out of this song. We did it together.
Back to your dreams, then, of fire and Helheim.
I lost my way some time ago. Hard to say when. I don't want to be here. I never did. This was Halfdan's dream. He ordered me to see it through. In my dreams, I'm sailing, remember? Wind in my beard, salt on my lips. I want that life again. Whether or not I find it, only time will tell. Until then, let us feast, drink, and forget our pain!
Enjoy the festivities. Oh, nickel wasn't even discovered till 1754, apparently. I'm collecting nickel as my wealth for raiding stuff and taking on forts and all that. I'm starting to realize, like, well, I've realized it before, but, like, I'm starting to think about it more. The fact that this game does just feel like a set of side quests. And, like, side quests that actually have, like, substance to them. Like, I feel like there's a lot of games that have side quests that are just such complete random bullshit that doesn't really contribute anything to anything or have, like, overarching progress. Like, as an example, I can use, like, Final Fantasy 16. Its quests actually felt like they mattered to the world a lot of the time because they'd usually center around, like, pivotal characters. And you would find out more about them that you didn't know by doing, like, the main story alone. Like, you get additional context with that. Or something like Xenoblade Chronicles X, where it's like, there's side quest chains that make it feel like you are truly progressing something. You're helping research this technology for the bug people. You're helping Professor B, like, learn stuff about the planet. Like, there's stuff that actually feels like it's progressing. But a lot of games don't have that when it comes to their side quests. A lot of them feel kind of like random bullshit. This game feels like it's basically a world of side quests, and side quests that do truly, like, have progression and meaning and, like, character development in their, like, through them. Like, you're seeing how these characters continue to, like, evolve and get, like, their standing and stuff like that, and have these regions fall under new leadership and all that through these quests. Why did my screen get, like, water droplets there for a second? But the game doesn't have, like, a main story. Like, that is the main story. This game feels like it doesn't have a story, but it has really good quests. That's the impression that I'm getting from Assassin's Creed Valhalla, is what I'm starting to realize. Like, I don't really feel like I'm experiencing a story. I just feel like I'm experiencing a world with pretty good side quests. Which, it'd be great if side quests like this, with this kind of progression, existed in a game with an overarching story that I cared about. Like, I was doing stuff around the world, and, like, this was the side content that was offered. I think that would be a fantastic game with, like, super meaningful content. But having this in the place to take the role of your main story, I just don't think that it's an appropriate substitute. But if this truly was, like, side content and not your main story content, I think that this would be, like, really, really amazing side content. That's what I'm feeling with Valhalla. I'm starting to realize on some reflection here. Apparently it was used by the Chinese in 200 BC, but was eventually lost and was discovered again in 1751 and named in 1754. Interesting. That's really funny that I'm collecting nickel here then. Yeah, remember the crossbow in Assassin's Creed 1 that was removed for historical accuracy? I don't either. I love how the mugs just, like, spawned at the ground there the moment I hit Y.
They stand so
or whatever spawned down there.
Unbreakable at this distance, no?
They are not, Brothier. My arrows shatter whatever target they strike.
Even after draining so much meat, succeed and you shall be rewarded.
Yeah, it was mugs. So we're gonna get drunk
Keep
and
your
then
eyes
shoot
open
pots.
long enough to witness this, you drunken loud.
This is what Link does when he comes of age. Well, that was fast. 3! What? Oh, like, challenge begins. I thought I had 3 seconds to shoot.
Yes, that's it.
This is, like, barely throwing me off. Is this even doing anything? It's not really moving my... Well, it is moving my cursor very slightly. Not very much, though. It's more so just making the screen funny, but I can still tell, obviously, where they are.
Ah, barely a challenge.
Impressive. Impressive. Here as promised. Now go enjoy the party.
He gave me 50 silver. I didn't realize he promised me that. Okay. So what are the festivities over here?
Skål, Ivor! Let's have a drink.
To celebrate. Skål! Drink more. Så beger misliker. Did your elder hold to fella Grutown?
Hi.
Your fist
The other
is
bro
without
here.
ale. Let us address that.
Literally called
Surely a
Broder.
special kind of metal is required for drinking before the
How
new
fitting.
king.
A metal not unlike your own.
To Odin and his endless glories.
And the new king of East Anglia. May his reign be long and good. Not bad, Wolf-Kissed. I wager you couldn't drink more than me if you tried.
Drinking minigame.
A fool's wager.
A challenge nonetheless. What say you?
Sure. The very first game, and the very first trailer that I think it was the one that revealed Assassin's Creed for the first time. Altair used a crossbow, and some people complained that it wasn't historically accurate for the time period that it took place in to have a crossbow, and so they removed it from the game, even though like they originally planned on having a crossbow in it. So they did that to maintain historical accuracy. In fact, I think my meme for the going live notification today plays into that, considering where I've gotten to. Yep. It's let's see here. This is where we're at now when it comes to Assassin's Creed. Assassin's Creed removes crossbow that was in trailer from the game because of historical inaccuracy. Assassin's Creed Valhalla. I mean, you can basically literally do that, especially if you like shell out microtransactions in the Ubisoft store to get that kind of stuff. That's what it is nowadays. That is how it goes. Good old historical accuracy in Assassin's Creed games. I'll take you on.
You under the table.
Confident,
And to be fair, like, it was always fiction to a degree, what with, like, the whole artifacts and first civilization and stuff like that. It's like, it was already, like, mixing history with fiction and stuff like that. But yeah. Yeah, unfortunately, being microtransactions there. How's it going, Super Hyper? I'll take the
I
wager.
accept.
Okay. This game feels like someone played a few Assassin's Creed games, took jot notes, and made a game off of those jot notes. To me, it feels like someone did that, while also, like, just having played, like, a lot of open-world RPGs, and really wanting to make, like, an open-world RPG, or something like that. Like, maybe playing a bunch of things like Witcher 3 or something like that. Just really enjoying, like, open-world games. Maybe some Witcher, maybe some Horizon, I don't know. Just like stuff with a big open world with a whole bunch of random shit to do. And being like, hey, let's basically have that and have it be loosely Assassin's Creed. It's kind of what it feels like. But yeah, Odyssey and Valhalla have very much not felt like Assassin's Creed games, I will say. They just kind of feel like historical open-world RPGs set in the Assassin's Creed universe. Whoops, is what they feel like. That's how I feel about these two games. There we go, drinking challenge. Did he just throw his cup there? Yeah, there's a drinking mini game.
But I am stronger.
But you can have all the... Whoa, who's that guy?
Stronger than me.
Ooh, creepy.
Drink as well as Valdis.
Now that I would pay to see.
You can have all the open world you
Speaking
want.
of
If there's no clear
payment,
reason why I'm there, then
where's
why do
my
I care?
silver?
Yeah, and it doesn't really feel like there's a clear reason
Well
why I'm
earned,
here.
wolf-kissed.
Like, it felt like there was a more clear reason why I was there in Odyssey, and it wasn't related to any assassin reasons. Like, again, it was just like an open world RPG set in the Assassin's Creed world without really being an Assassin's Creed game per se. And this game, where it's just like there isn't really an overarching story, it's just go around doing mini plot lines, making friends until I guess you've made friends everywhere, and then game win. Like, that isn't really enough to keep me
The road
invested.
to Valhalla does not run that way, Finir.
He's been up there a while.
Well, yeah, Finner down from the roof. Like, I don't think that you need to have, like, a super amazing kind of story or anything like that in your video games. Heck, some games don't even really need much of a story at all. Like, even just, like, an objective that you're moving towards that you feel, like, progress towards. Like, no one is playing Mario games to see if Mario rescues Peach. Like, you don't really need it in a game like that, because Mario games typically have, like, stuff going on all the time. Like, you're constantly going from level to level to level, and there's, like, constant engagement. If you're playing something like New Super Mario Bros. Or Mario Bros. Wonder, or if you're playing something like Metroid Dread that's only, like, an 8-hour-long game, but it's just, like, constant condensed. You're constantly doing shit, and it keeps you invested that way. Like, I'm intrigued by the story of Metroid Dread as well. Like, I don't think it has a bad story by any means. But I'm saying, like, it's a short, condensed enough thing that I think the gameplay alone is enough to carry it. But I think if you're gonna have, like, a game that is, like, 100... How many hours do I have in Odyssey? Let's see here. How many hours does Steam say I have? 155.8 hours. So about 150 hours to get through it all. If you're gonna have, like, a 150-hour game, you need to have, like, a little bit of substance. You need to have a little bit of reason. Because, like, let's say it was something like Mario Bros. Who would be doing that for 150 hours? Like, realistically, that wouldn't happen. I mean, open world games kind of inflate their playtime with, here's a whole bunch of random shit we want you to do along the way, and we're also gonna, like, artificially inflate the playtime by forcing you to do, like, random crap around the world before you can progress. Like with the plotline of Assassin's Creed Odyssey, for example, the first main story goal was to find your mother, track her down, and it was so much of, oh yeah, she was here, do this favor for me, and then I'll tell you where she went. So you do this favor for this person, and they're like, okay, she went to that place next, and then you go to that place, and then they're like, oh yeah, she was here, do this favor for me, and I'll tell you where she went next. So then you do this favor and this little quest line for that person, and then they're like, okay, she went to this place next, and you go to that place, and it's like, oh yeah, she was here, I'll tell you where she went if you do this favor for me. And that's like the first half of Assassin's Creed Odyssey, is just doing that over and over and over again as you go, like, across the entire world. Like, it's not like a linear game where you just immediately do the next thing. It's like, oh yeah, she went to this place next, so now you gotta go from here all the way over to here, and you travel across that and do all sorts of other random crap along the way, and then that person, after doing a quest line there, tells you to go all the way over here, you know, stuff like that. Like, that's where a lot of the playtime in open world games comes from. And I just really don't like that. I'm not the biggest fan of that, but, you know, I can forgive it if it has, like, a story that I can really get behind. I definitely did not have that with Odyssey. I definitely don't have that with this game. It was definitely better in Odyssey than this game. This game just feels like a world of side quests. There is no overarching story. It's go around, make friends, and then I guess the game is beaten once I've made friends with, like, all the areas. So it's just go to each area, do a side quest chain, you've made them as a new friend. It doesn't feel like there's overarching progression or any reason why I should care. Like, it just feels like I'm playing an open world game with a lot of side quests and no story. Is what this game feels like. Hello, Snow Penguin. How's it going here? But yeah, let's see here. Yeah, need to have a clear reason why you're there. This isn't the days of Asteroids of Pac-Man. I want a bit of story in my games. I mean, with something like Asteroids of Pac-Man, I feel like things like that don't really need story because the game experience is so short. Like, you're meant to just, like, play, experience a bit of the gameplay, have fun with that, move on with your life. And when I was saying, like, shorter game examples, like something like just some simple Mario Bros, or playing something like Metroid Dread or something like that is like a condensed, short kind of game. The gameplay enough is, I feel like, enough to carry that through. Like, of course, again, Metroid Dread does have story to it, and I was engaged with the story of it. I was genuinely intrigued to see what happened. But I feel like gameplay alone probably would have been enough to carry you through. Or things like, say, Dark Souls, or something like that, for example. Dark Souls, Elden Ring. You're only gonna figure out what the heck the story is in that if you, like, go down, like, the YouTube rabbit hole of theories, pay super close attention to, like, item descriptions. 99% of the people that play, like, Dark Souls or Elden Ring are not going to have any idea what the hell is going on as they play it. I sure didn't, but I was engaged because I was continuing to go through, like, completely new areas over and over again, experiencing stuff that I hadn't experienced before, facing, like, levels that I could clear. Like, that's something better suited with, like, Dark Souls rather than Elden Ring. Like, Elden Ring, there's still, like, dungeons and stuff that you can clear, but, you know, that is a big open world to explore. So something like Dark Souls, where it's like, hey, you made it to Blight Town. Good luck with all this up and down and craziness, and it's, like, a major challenge to get through. Or things like the various castles in that, or things like Sen's Fortress, where it's like, hey, here's just, like, a linear level ahead of you. Clear it. And, like, it's engaging enough to me to keep me going through, even if I have genuinely no idea what's going on in the story. Plus, something like Dark Souls isn't gonna be, like, a freaking 100+ hour open world RPG. Like, it's gonna be, like, a maybe 30-something hour experience of going around killing, like, boss after boss and clearing level after level, and having enough variety that it's mostly fun. I'd say the first half of Dark Souls 1 was really fun. The second half was, not super great. Like, you can tell where most of the attention went. But the first half of Dark Souls 1, fantastic gaming experience, I will definitely say here. But yeah, let's see here. I mean, open worlds need more cool and unique areas to explore as well. Yeah, have, like, a lot of variety in it. Like, when I'm playing something like Elden Ring, there's lots of different area types that have, like, very different feels to them. When I'm playing something like this, friggin' everywhere feels the same. Like, if you maybe play, like, GeoGuessr Assassin's Creed Valhalla edition, oh my god, I would have no idea where I was at, like, any given time. I feel like everything's just looking the same here. Is very much what it feels like, you know. But yeah, doing okay. How's me? I'm doing pretty alright here. I repaired my 3D printer yesterday, so it's been broken for a little while. I'm kind of, you know, giving it a little bit of a test run right now and seeing how it goes. It hasn't broken yet, so I guess my wiring was okay. Hopefully it stays that way and that my wiring wasn't botched. And I got the opportunity to run a little stand at a upcoming seed sale event on the, I believe it's the 25th of March coming up here, to have a little booth to sell like 3D printed things like pots and, you know, tomato stakes and seed starters and propagation tools and just all sorts of 3D printed things related to gardening. I had reached out to this group. I've never set up a stand selling like my 3D printed stuff before. But, you know, family and friends have told me, like, hey, you should potentially try that for a while now, and I've thought about it for a while now, so I thought, like, hey, what's something that's probably not going to have any 3D printing stuff at it, but is something that, one, I would have passion about, and two, like, have, like, applications for in 3D printing, and gardening definitely does. Well, unstable. OBS still looks like it's fine. And there definitely is with, like, 3D printing and gardening, like printing seed starters and stuff like that, and various propagation tools to be able to, like, germinate things and clone things and all sorts of different tools that can be printed with the power of it. So, you know, I sent a message out to this one group that runs, like, an annual seed sale about 3D printing, and they had said, like, you know, that sounds really interesting and cool, like something we'd like to see at our event, and would be something very different from a lot of the vendors there. So, you know, now I'm kind of both testing my printer. Whoops, why are my hotkeys, oh, now my hotkeys are working. So now I'm kind of both testing and also creating inventory to be able to sell at this event. So, yeah, I'm sorting that out. So over the next 6 weeks, I'm probably going to be 3D printing a whole bunch of crap because I only have one machine. It's kind of the case here. Dev Studios need to look at Breath of the Wild before they make open world games. They gave you enough content to justify the size of the world and make you feel like, oh, well, and that message just pushed it up to where I can't see it. But I can roughly gather what the rest of that message said. Don't think any open worlds have utilized the open world in a good way, except maybe Witcher 3 from the stuff I've heard, maybe. I think the only 2 open world games that I truly love for being open world are Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag and Xenoblade Chronicles X. I love both those games. Those games are fantastic. Like, they're great examples of being able to go, like, anywhere you want, like, whenever you want. Assassin's Creed 4 still has, like, a linear story for you to experience. And if you want to do the linear story, you can just do the linear story. And yes, you do have to sail from point A to point B, much like running across the world and something like this. But I feel like there's more reason to, like, engage in stuff along the way, because I'm, like, upgrading my ship and, like, making the game easier. Like, something like Valhalla or Odyssey, going around doing, like, question marks and all these things, it's like, hey, that gives me, like, a smidge more experience points. Or this gives me, like, some loot that I'll be able to, like, upgrade Ravensthorpe a little bit more that I honestly don't really care about. I can't think of a single upgrade that's here that I'm like, ooh, I really want to get that. I can't wait until I've saved up enough to get that upgrade. Like, it just doesn't really matter. Assassin's Creed 4 felt a little bit more like Ghost of Tsushima with its open world. I was talking earlier this stream about how I've been playing a lot of Ghost of Tsushima lately, and its things around the world are things like, do a hot springs to increase your maximum health and also see what's on Jin's mind right now. Do the fox dens, and that'll slowly unlock, like, more equipment slots for you. And you also get to pet, like, the super cute fox and stuff. Oh, I thought I heard a scraping again, but I think it's a-okay. Hopefully everything is a-okay. Do things like the haikus that give you a new headband. That feels a little bit less important than, like, the things that permanently buff yourself. But they're still kind of fun to do. And then the headband that you get permanently has that haiku that you put together on, like, its item description, which I think is, like, really quite charming and cool. Things like the bamboo challenges, where it's like, hey, here's, like, a little button challenge minigame, and it's going to increase your resolve, which is, like, the equivalent of adrenaline in this game, where it's basically, like, the thing that builds up as you're battling, and you can spend it to use, like, different abilities and stuff. Like, so the things that you're doing actually feel like they are directly helping you, like, in these exact quantifiable ways, as opposed to, you got a little bit more experience points. I feel like in Black Flag, there's a lot more of upgrades that I genuinely care about. Like, I don't I don't care about the upgrades to Ravensthorpe. There's not a single facility here that I've thought like, ooh, I can't wait until I get that. But in something like Black Flag with my ship, it's like, ooh, it'd be nice to get like some more damage, some more cannons here, and be able to take on more ships. Maybe get a little bit more hull health so I'm not being like shredded as much and I can go into like some higher level areas. Like, the things that going around and collecting stuff gives is stuff that I care a bit more about. And it's not as much of, you know, question marks that you fill out on the map, like a finite amount, or like the glowy bits like in Valhalla. Rather, it's more, and there are still some of those, like you can still go around and like collect treasure on islands and stuff like that and do side objectives that do exist around the map. Nowhere near the same amount. Like, I've 100%ed that game in 80 hours. Like, it's nowhere near the scale of something like this. More so, the things that you would find yourself doing along the way are battling other ships. Because one, battling other ships is genuinely fun. And two, they'll give you different resources that help you upgrade your ship, which is something that you care about because the ship battles are fun and it lets you go to, like, more areas once your ship is a higher level and can deal with, like, the higher level ships in these other areas that you want to go to. So, the thing that I can do along the way of battling other ships, I actually want to do in Black Flag. It is progression that I care about. Like, maybe I'll add Ghost of Tsushima to the list of, like, open world games that I care about. I've only played it 3 times now. We'll see what I feel like by the end of it. And with Xenoblade Chronicles X, it is one of those games that's like, hey, before you do this next story mission, you do have to do these side things. Some of them are, like, I'm sure some people can see them as, like, somewhat tedious. Like, go map out 25% of this area, for example. Or, but a lot of them are quests that do pertain to, like, the overall kind of world building and stuff going on and progression there. So, the non-story mandatory quests to progress the story still kind of feel like story quests, essentially. And like, that world is actually, like, really, really charming and cool, that doing objectives like filling out 25% of the map in this area, I do genuinely care about, because, like, the world is just so beautiful and cool and fun to explore. Like, you're exploring an alien planet in Xenoblade Chronicles X, and so there's 5 main areas that all are such completely different biomes, and are genuinely fun to explore and see, like, all the cool, like, alien creatures and stuff around and be like, whoa, what's that? And how do I get there? And installing, like, all these probes that contribute to, like, your map and show what other quests are available. Like, it's addictive. I found Xenoblade Chronicles X very addictive when I first played that game. I didn't quite 100% it, but I came pretty dang close. So, right now, Xenoblade Chronicles X and Assassin's Creed Black Flag are, like, the 2 open world games that I've played that I genuinely really like for being open world games. Maybe I'll add Ghost of Tsushima to that sometime later. We'll see here. I want to beat the game first, and then I can say for sure. I think Baldur's Gate 3 did. They used the open world to its fullest. That's a game I've definitely heard good things about. Baldur's Gate 3 isn't quite an open world, really, to be honest, but I do think it did a good job of balancing a huge amount of content with quality content. Controversial opinion, a true open world shouldn't exist. You need to keep the player on a conveyor belt at least a bit. Yeah, if you have, like, an overarching, like, goal/endpoint for sure. Let's say Assassin's Creed Valhalla was just a world of side quests and there wasn't, like, a final boss or ending, and they marketed it that way. Maybe some players would like that. I don't think I would, but some people might like that, I guess. Like, you could potentially have that. But yeah, I feel like having something overarching, like a goal to work towards, should have, like, a sense of progression across it, and you can't really have that true sense of progression by having an open world. Like, progression is naturally linear. You're getting stronger on a linear path. It's just the path that you undergo that linear progression to get stronger could go in different ways with, like, an open world system, and that's a little bit difficult to balance, and it's odd, it's complicated and stuff. Well, I think it's worth it if you've done all the side quests and then you receive a cool cinematic of a main story. Bad wording there, no worries, I got what you're saying. But yeah, I don't think that's necessarily 100% true, but honestly, any extremely linear game is better than a lot of the open world slop companies put out nowadays. Yeah, they're just built to give you that huge dopamine hit at the start, seeing how big the map is, and that's it. But it wants to remember that... But it wants to remember that, and only that, so you'll forget why you stopped playing and recommend the game just based on that initial dopamine hit. And I'm sure a lot of people recommend games like Valhalla and Odyssey being like, there's so much content, you know, like, you'll get so much bang for your buck. Like, I highly recommend you play it. Like, there's so much stuff in there. I would gladly recommend, like, a short game like Metroid Dread or, like, Metroid Prime or anything like that over something like this any day, I think. But yeah, your Patreon page is amazing, was worth every cent. Did you subscribe to the thingamabob there? I haven't checked it in a long time, and I don't know if I get notifications if I do. I think I got an email earlier. Oh, I do. I think that's literally the first time anyone's ever become, like, a Patreon. I set it up a while back, just being like, hey, in case anyone wants to use it, like, it's there, I guess. Plus, then I also have it, like, in a lot of video descriptions already set up. When the eventual day comes that I jump ship from Twitch and go completely over to YouTube. Because Twitch's future is a little bit iffy sometimes. You know, it's definitely the case. And I figured the day would come that I jump ship over to YouTube for good. In which case, that would be, like, handy to have around. That is what my mindset there was. So I set it up, like, a couple of years ago. Just to, like, have it there. But yeah, why not? I like your video. Well, I greatly appreciate that, Emerald Finder. Just became a Canadian $15.50 member. Oh, I can send a personal message now, apparently. Let's see here. What happens if I click send a personal message? I can open it up in Safari. What happens here? Log in or sign up? What? Continue with Google? It's gotta be this account, right? My Acoustic Harmonia one. Continue, sign into Patreon. It's gotta be that, right? Relationship Manager. If I click Emerald Finder. Notes, write a private note. Your member for the day. I get, like, does a private note get sent, or is it a note for me? What? Watch out for this guy. Is gonna be the note. There. That's on there. If I click, I guess I can privately message people that are on Patreon. I'm not used to it. There. I assume it's a note. It's probably like that. Say anything. Wow, you just wasted your money. Sucks to suck. There. There. My very first message to, like, the very first Patreon supporter ever on the channel. Amazing, huh? Anyway, let's see here. People who recommend a lot of these open worlds haven't played more than maybe 5 to 10 hours, maybe not even that. What's interesting about Odyssey is whenever I heard about Odyssey, everyone would always say, like, they liked it, there's a lot of stuff to do there, but I don't think I ever beat it. Like, that's what I always heard from people who played Odyssey. I think, was it Cernal that beat it? I think there was one person that I talked to that actually beat Assassin's Creed Odyssey that had played it. I think it was Cernal from Fragapalooza. I might be getting false memories here, but I'm pretty sure it was him. Possibly. It could have been someone else. I could just be getting, like, false memories here. But there would be so many people that I'd talk to about it that'd be like, yeah, I really liked it, and there's a lot of stuff to do. But I don't think I ever beat it, though. Yeah, I'm totally the second person who ever beat Assassin's Creed Odyssey at all. Just open world in general, you know how many people I know that actually beat Skyrim? Yeah, I mean, that's fair there. I definitely really like games that have, like, a clear start to finish that most people are gonna be getting through, but with, like, a healthy amount of side content and additional stuff that you can do. Like, if you want an example of a short game with, like, a shit ton of side content, Pokemon Conquest. Like, the main story of Pokemon Conquest, if I had to guess, is probably like a 6 or 7 hour game. Like, it is a very condensed, short, high quality, like, fun game. It's gotta be, like, one of the best Pokemon spin-offs ever. You want 100% that game? Guess what? Now that you've beaten the main story, here's, like, 30-something more other stories that you can do. And if you want 100% the game, it's gonna be, like, at least over 100 hours. At least in my experience, because it took me over 100 hours to 100% it. And I definitely got pretty sick and tired of Pokemon Conquest, like, by the end of that journey. Like, holy crap. But, like, I, along with countless other players, were able to easily get through that, like, core, condensed main story experience that's only, like, 6 or 7 hours long. It's just, like, a short, well-crafted experience that you can share with other people that played Pokemon Conquest. Like, you don't have to invest, like, 100+ hours to get, like, the experience of having beaten Assassin's Creed Odyssey or Assassin's Creed Valhalla, you know? Like, it's just a short experience with a lot of meaningful side content if you want to do. But yeah, honestly, that liking but not beating was you with Legends Arceus. Fair enough.